how are you this evening? How are you doing? I'm Jeanette from Boricua Sewing and Crafts. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. I hope you guys got your pens and your notebooks and your papers and your drinks. I got me some daiquiri, okay? And I am ready to share some 411 with you guys, okay? I am going to talk about the must-haves of the embroideries, and what are my favorite things that I have. Okay, for those of you that are new to my channel, welcome, and I hope you like this video, and I hope you subscribe, and I hope you hit that like button. I am all about sharing information and supporting people in the world of embroidery and sewing. I love seeing people make their dreams a reality. I just get a high out of it. I think it is awesome. So, is whatever I can do to, help make that dream come true, hey, I'm all for it. Okay, so one of the things that I like to do is just share information. So today is going to be information that I want to share about. If you're new to embroidery, this is good information because that way you'll know exactly what you need. And also I want to talk about some of the things that have worked for me and even some of the things that haven't worked for me, okay? So let's start off. And then also, if you have questions, before I start babbling all over the place, okay? If you guys have questions and stuff, put it in the chat room, okay? I will stop talking at around like 7:45, around there. I'm going to try. And then I want to go through all the chat rooms, say hi to people and stuff, and answer any of the questions that you guys may have, okay? And stuff. And I do see that there are a lot of people out there and stuff. Love you guys. And trust me, I will say hi to you guys when I'm done. Because I have like a notebook of stuff to do. I've been getting better organized. So I went and I got myself a huge notebook. So that way I can start writing things down about the videos and all that kind of stuff and everything. So I'm ready to rock and roll, okay? So I got my daiquiri, and I'm a little excited. I know, okay? I know, but it's hot in here. But I think it's the drink, but that's okay. But let's start talking about it, okay? Now, embroidery, okay? I love embroidery. I love embroidery because I just like making stuff. I like making stuff for people because, it's special, okay? It's really, really special, especially when you go and you make something for someone and you see their smile, they just brighten up because, it is a very special gift, especially when it comes from you, okay? Because if you really think about it, you had to think about what to make for this person. You had to actually take all the material and you had to actually put the design together and embroider it and package it up and give it to them. And that's really special, okay? Because that means that you thought about that person and, when they get that gift, trust me, I mean, you may think that it's not much, but it truly, truly is, okay? So, that's one of the reasons why I got into it. Some people actually like doing it and they actually expanded it and made it into a little side hustle or their business. It is a great way to make money. Not a lot of people have embroidery machines. Not a lot of people know how to embroider. And people love things that are personalized and custom and different. So it's a great side hustle. If you're looking to make money on the side or if you're looking to do this full time, I know me personally, I'm going to be retiring in like 5 years. So in 5 years, I know this is what I want to do full time. This is going to be like my second thing in life because I love it. Okay. And it's not that I want to like do like a big embroidery corporation or anything, but what I really love is teaching people. I like, making things for folks. So I figured as retired, maybe what I can do is maybe give classes to people so they can learn the craft and then maybe even like, create gifts for people also. So I think to me, this is like the perfect gift, perfect, not gift. What was I going to say? Perfect gig, my perfect gig. Well, I may be saying that word wrong. Okay. Well, for those of you guys that have watched me a long time, you guys know that sometimes I don't speak English that well and I don't speak Spanish that well. I just kind of like, mix up the words and everything. I speak Genetish. Okay. That's why like last week, okay? And thank you guys. I went and I made this shirt last minute and spelled it wrong, okay? Forgot to see, okay? So, that was my genetics, okay? So I got vaccinated instead of vaccinated. So I am going to fix this shirt, and the way I'm going to do is I'm just going to put another little C with an arrow pointing out, and there you go. Because for those of you that have known me, I'm real cheap, so I'm not going to waste another shirt, So anyway, so let's talk about the must-haves and what my favorite things are, okay? Now, if you are going to get into embroidery, okay, first things first, think about the machine. There are so many machines out there. You got single needles, you got multi-needles, okay? All of them have different capabilities, different functions, different hoop sizes and stuff like that. You got to start with the machine. Without the machine, you can't do it unless you're going to do hand embroidery, okay? Hand embroidery, you just need the hoop and the fabric and the needle and the thread, and you just go ahead and, you can sit on a little rocking chair and just go ahead and do it. But machine embroidery, you need the machine, okay? So think about the machine. A lot of people that have started in embroidery, a lot of times, like me, myself, we start small. A lot of us, start with a single needle machine. But if you know for a fact that this is what you want to do, you can jump into the multi-needle. Because I've met people that said, I never owned a single needle machine. I just went straight to the multi-needle machine. But I'm going to tell you up front, no matter what route you go, okay, single needle machines, multi-needle machines cost money, okay? So embroidery is not a cheap craft. You guys hear me say it all the time, okay? It is not something that is very inexpensive, okay? There's a lot of materials that go into it, and we're going to be talking about this throughout the whole hour, okay? So once you decide on the machine that you want, one of the things also that you then have to decide is a thread set. Now, one of the things that, going back to the machine, I recommend you get the machine that fits your needs, okay? Not everybody's needs are the same. Everybody's different, okay? Some people are good with the multi, some people are good with the single, okay? So get the machine that fits your needs and what you want to do with it, okay? So now also with the thread set. Now, when you're first starting out, I always tell people the best thing to do is start with a thread set, okay? I like the sim threads because they're very inexpensive. I was able to get it off of Amazon. It was a great, great starter kit, okay? I got like 63 colors, and, they really work really well. But as you start to embroider more, right, you're eventually going to run out of certain colors, okay? So in those situations, what I recommend is don't just go out and get small other threads. If you need to replace that color that you see that you're using a lot, I truly recommend you get the big threads because you get a lot more. And they're really not that expensive. I get them from allstitch.com. Right now, I think they're running about like $8.95, a big comb, okay? This lasts a very long time. So I recommend you do this for those thread colors that you use a lot. However, though, also, some people will come out and say, well, Jeanette, I got a single needle machine and it's not going to fit in the thing. You know what? There's a lot of ways that you can do this. Some people get a plastic cup, put this inside the plastic cup, just place it next to your machine, and then just go ahead and thread your machine. You can use it that way. Some people go and buy a single a single comb thread holder. You can do it that too. So, just because, just don't think that because you have a single needle machine and that little area where you put in your thread, that all you can do is just put in those small spools of thread. That's not true. You can use a big one. So, when you start off with your set and you start to, use all your threads and you see that you start running out of a particular color, my recommendation is when you go to replace that color, go ahead and replace it with a big comb because that means that you use that color a lot. And then what's going to happen is if you buy the small combs, you're going to end up spending more money on those small combs than you would if you just went ahead and invested on a big one. So just something to think about, okay? Also, bobbins. Let's talk about bobbins. Now, you should learn how to wind your own bobbins. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there might be certain situations where you want the color of the bobbin to be the same as the color of the thread on top. All right. So I'll give you an example. Beach towels, right? So a lot of times, you know, people want their names embroidered on the beach towel. Well, when they want their names embroidered on the beach towel, you know, when people are using the beach towel, you see both sides of the beach towel, okay? You see the front, you see the back. So what happens is you don't want the front to look nice, and then when they change the beach towel to the back, then you kind of see the two shades. You see the white bobbin, and then you'll see the color thread. So in those situations, I recommend making sure that you use the bobbin thread as the same color as the top thread. So you're going to have to wind your own bobbins. So I would just go and just, you know, you can do one or two things, okay? What you can do is if you're using pre-wound bobbins, which are the ones that I use, okay? And I just use those for the white and the black. If I have to have a bobbin that's the same color as the top thread, then I take a clear plastic case and I wind my own bobbin with the color that I need. But what I do is when you are done using those pre-wound bobbins, you'll have a little plastic case. Don't throw them out. You know, I mean, you don't have to keep them all, okay? But as you see, they come with their own little case. Just save a handful of these cases, okay? And with these cases, what you can do is you can use them to wind your own bobbins with the color that you need. So my recommendation, take about like 10, okay? As you start to use your machine and you start to use up all the thread on your bobbin cases, if you buy the pre-wind, just save about a handful, 5, 10, put them in an envelope on a drawer on the side. And then if you have to reuse, you know, you have to wind your own bobbin for a certain color, you already have blank cases, okay? Now, when I first started out, of course, I didn't have any blank cases, so I had to go out and buy my own. So I went and I got like zillions of them, you know? So anyway, but just something to think about and a way to save money, okay? Now, why do I like using the pre-wound bobbins? To me, okay, I find that the bobbins, when you buy them pre-wounded or pre-winded, don't know if I'm saying it right, but I think you guys know what I mean. I'm talking about the bobbins that already come with the thread on it, okay? When you get those bobbins, I feel they last longer because if you really look at it, I'm going to take it out again so you can do and take a look at it. They really do. If you look at it, I cannot for the life of me get a bobbin to look like this. I mean, it's like nice and tight and snug, and it's like so neat. And you could tell there's a lot of thread in that. So this lasts a very, very long time. So I just feel that getting these are a lot better. And at the same time, I don't have to spend a whole lot of time winding bobbins. Because I remember before I was using the pre-winded bobbins, you know, because I was like being hard-headed and I was like, oh, I don't want to spend money on more thread, right? I actually bought bobbin thread and I bought a whole bunch of plastic cases. I spent like the whole day in front of the machine winding bobbins. And I was like thinking to myself, that's a whole day. When I could have just like spent $20 and got a box, you know? So I was just like, okay. So that, you know, you kind of learn the hard way sometimes with certain things, right? So that's what happened with me, okay? So this strawberry daiquiri is pretty good. I hope I don't start slurring my words. Okay, now let's stop. All right. Now, we talked about the machine. We talked about thread, okay? There's a lot of threads out there. A lot of different brands. You got Sim Thread, you got Madeira, you got Thread Art. You got there's one called Fluorescent, Florii, or Fluorite, I don't know, something like that. Well, it starts with an F or something. So it's supposed to be a real good one anyway. But there's so many threads. Then they have different types of threads too, okay? Learn about the different weights. You got 40 weights, you got 60 weights. Learn about the different textures of the threads, okay? You got metallic threads, which I started getting into. I'm loving my metallic threads. Those are shiny threads. Very, very shiny. You do have to slow down the machine to use it and stuff like that. But that's all going to come with experience as you start embroidering and you start learning and all that kind of stuff. It's all going to come to you and stuff. It can be overwhelming. I'm going to be honest with you. When you start getting into this, you start getting overwhelmed. Okay. Okay. So we start talking about machines. The machines, the threads, the bobbins. Let's talk about stabilizers. When you first start, okay, this is what I recommend. You got your machine, you got your little bobbins, you bought your threads, your thread set, right? Now you're going to need stabilizers. I recommend you get 3 types. Get cutaway, tear away, sticky. Okay, those are the 3 that you're mostly going to use. All right. As time goes on, then you're going to get into the no-show meshes, and then you're going to start investing in the backing, the topping, you know, where you're going to want tender touch and you're going to want cloud cover and stuff. And that's what you use to cover the back of the embroidery, especially if you're doing shirts. So that way it doesn't itch people, right? So, you know, think about the brands. You know, there's a lot of different brands out there. I usually don't go out and get like the most expensive brand. I don't mind trying the cheap stuff and then just working my way out. When you first start out, you have to find what kind of stabilizer works for you. So what I recommend is buy the small pack first. Just don't go to stabilizer and then say, oh my God, okay, give me 100 yards of that stuff. Because you don't know if you're going to like it. You know what I'm saying? You don't know if that's going to be the right stabilizer for you. And so, you know, just buy a small pack, give it a shot. If you like it, then the next time you order, buy a bigger pack. Okay. Another thing, another little tip that I tell people is when you're looking at the prices of stabilizers, they sell them in 2 types. They sell them in the rolls and then they sell them pre-cut. If you buy pre-cut, you're going to pay a little more. And the reason is because they cut the fabric for you, right? What I do, because I'm pretty cheap, okay, I buy the roll, okay? And then what I do is I got my rotary cutter, and then I go ahead and then I cut them myself. And I just cut them all in sheets, okay? Now, another thing that you need to, that you should be aware of that I do is when you are using your stabilizer, okay, like let's say I have a sheet, right? Because what I do is I buy it by the roll and then I pre-cut all my sheets. And then let's say that I'm doing something, you know, I usually pre-cut them by like, you know, 9 by 13 inches long, right? Now let's say that I'm doing a small project, it's just on a 5x7 hoop. So I'll just take that stabilizer and I'll cut it in half. Then that means I have the other half of the stabilizer. I don't toss that sucker out. What I do is I put all my stabilizers together, and then what I do is I just pin them. Because what happens is as time goes on, right? Like the other day I got a order for a baby onesie. So what I did was I said, I know I have a small pre-cut piece of no-show mesh. So what I did was I went into my little stash and I was able to find a no-show mesh instead of taking out a whole big piece of no-show mesh. And then I was able to use it. Okay. So don't throw out your scraps. Keep them. Just, you know, put them neat in a little, you know, put them neat, clip them, and then just put them somewhere close to the rest of your stabilizers. And then when you're working on a project and, you know, you don't go immediately to your fresh stash, go to your little scrap stash and see if something that you have there is going to work. Okay. So just a little tip and stuff, because I see sometimes a lot of people, they just throw out their stabilizers and stuff. And I'm like, no, that's, you know, it's a little piece. Even with sticky stabilizer, you know, when you're cutting the sticky stabilizer, sometimes you'll have a little piece and stuff. Well, sometimes I get requested to go ahead and embroider on like a little coin case or something like that. Small. It's really small. Okay. So all I need is a small piece of sticky stabilizer. So I use my scraps. Okay, instead of, you know, using it up. Stabilizer can start, you know, it can cost money. That's what I'm telling you. All this stuff costs money. So it's like, Any little piece that you can save, good on you. Okay. So another thing also is being organized. Racks. Okay. I bought a lot of racks. I got a lot of wall racks of different types of color of threads and all that kind of stuff. If you are very tight on space, okay, and you don't have a lot of space in your area, I found this rack that I have to tell you I love. And I'm gonna put this out of the way. Let me scoop this over here so you guys can see this. I found this a couple of months ago. Love it. It's one of these. Let me lift it up so you guys can see it. See, it's a stand, and but it is only for the small threads. Okay, so if you're starting out if you're starting out and you got the 63 set, okay, and you got the small threads, I like this because it rotates and it sits nice and it doesn't require a lot of space. Okay, now this is not going to work for the big combs. I'm telling you right now, it's not. Okay, but to start, this is good. And then sometimes you don't need every color in a big comb. Okay, not every color. Sometimes you just use a little bit of this color or whatever, So this works for me to store all of my small combs. So I'm just saying, not a lot of people have a lot of space, because I know me, I started in my husband's basement. I had a little corner. Then, the corner started to get big. He gave me the eye. So I said, oh, okay, gotta go. So I had to move upstairs to one of the bedrooms. So space is a thing when it comes to this craft, because there's a lot of things that you do end up accumulating, and before you know it, you get this machine, you think that's all you need is a little table to put the machine on. Your stuff is gonna grow, trust me. So so if you're in your husband's man cave or something like that, believe me, you're gonna get the eye. Okay, so because I got it. All right. Okay, embroidery scissors. Make sure that you get some good embroidery scissors. And there's different types of scissors. Scissors are for every little thing. They got different purposes. Okay, I got small embroidery scissors. I got little snips. I have scissors for applique. Those are good to have too. These are literally my favorite. I love these. These are good because they cut real close to the stitches on applique without cutting the stitches. These are really good. So make sure that you get a very, very, very good pair of scissors, okay? Along with your scissors, though, this is something I've never mentioned in the past, but I think it needs to be mentioned. Make sure that you get tweezers. Where's my tweezers? I had tweezers here. I think I took it out now. I guess I don't have it. Anyway. Get some tweezers, and I'm talking about some long tweezers, okay? The things that you used to pick your little eyebrows on, and stuff. Well, the reasons why I say that is because if you get those tweezers, then what happens is it makes it easier. You can go in there and you can lift that little thread, and then you can take the scissor and just snip it, okay? So, the tweezers do help. So go to the dollar store. Don't spend a lot of money on expensive tweezers and stuff like that. Go to the dollar store. Pick up some tweezers, you'll be fine. Just get, you could get little ones and stuff, but if you can get a hand on some long ones, that works, okay? The other thing too that, since I mentioned the dollar store, okay, brushes, you gotta clean your machine. If you don't clean your machine, eventually the machine is not gonna be stitching right, okay? So make sure you go to the dollar store, get brushes, makeup brushes, get the ones that are soft, okay? So sometimes you can open up some of those cases when you go to the dollar store. Sometimes they have them real good sealed up, but if they have one that you can open it up, feel it. If it feels soft and stuff like that, that's the brush you want. You don't want anything that's harsh going into that machine because you don't want to mess it up, okay? And stuff. So I got like a set like this, and it was like $1, and it had like the big brush, and then it had like these little small brushes. And it cute, So I was like, oh, this is fine. And look how soft. It's really nice and soft. So I was like, oh, because what you want is you just want to let the lint off your machine. You want to get the lint off your machine. So make sure that you get a good brush, okay? Dollar store. Don't be spending a lot of money on that on the brushes. You don't have to, okay? Now, when you're talking about your threads also, You want to make sure that you're organized. So you want to make sure you get a nice thread rack. So that way all of your threads, you can put them in order by number. So that way when you're embroidering and you have a particular color that you need to look for, you can easily find it. You're not like going through a bag looking for all these different colors, because then you're going to be a mess, okay? So also get thread huggers. I love these things. I really do. It keeps it neat, because if you don't use these, what happens is when you open it up, right, like this, see, you use them like this. When you open it up, you know, the little tail, it's going to fall out. Next thing you know, it's going to look kind of messy, you know. But it just depends. I mean, if it doesn't bother you, that's okay. You know, you don't, you know. But it bothers me, you know. So, you know, so to me, it's like, well, that was kind of messy. You know, I like my stuff to be clean and simple and stuff like that, okay? So, the other thing, make sure you invest in a lot of needles, okay? Your needles are gonna break, all right? Your needles are gonna get dull. You have to change them, all right? So don't think that you open up the box, it came with 2 needles and that's all you need. No. So what I would do to start off is I would buy needles, and I would make sure I buy them in 3 sizes. I would get the 65-9. I would get the 75-11, which is what you'll use a lot. And then I would also get the 90-14, because that's what you're going to use for metallics and stuff like that. Make sure that you, if you're into the sewing, okay, make sure that you get some good rulers. Make sure that also that you get good rotary colors, okay? And make sure you get extra blades with your rotary colors, because those blades do get dull. Make sure also, because I learned the hard way, scissors have a purpose, and you use those scissors for those purpose only, okay? Don't take your embroidery scissors and start going cut paper, because then what happens is it dulls your scissor, and then it's not going to cut your threads as sharp as they used to, okay? Scissors get dull. And I did hear once, I think someone had told me their Joann's usually sometimes have somebody that comes into the store and sharpens scissors. I have to go to my Joann's and ask if they provide that service, because if they do, then I'm going to be like, oh, awesome. I'm going to find out when they come in, and I'll probably like maybe every 6 months or twice a year or something like that. I'm just going to make an appointment and take all my scissors in there, whether they need them or not, and say, please sharpen them, you know? Because, I mean, scissors can be pricey. And if you're going to buy scissors also, make sure when you go, if you buy any from Joann's, use their coupon, okay? Use the coupon and stuff. Also, let's talk about hoops, okay? There's going to be lots of different sizes of hoops. Your machine will eventually sometimes come with one, okay? Depending on the machine that you got, that will determine the hoop that you get, okay? Now, sometimes you could have a machine that only comes with a 4x4 hoop. My machine came with a 5x7 hoop. However, though, do know this. Just because your machine came with that one size doesn't mean that that's the only size you can use, okay? You can use a reposition hoop. So learn, you know, I would say invest, and then all in those hoops, because as you start learning, you're going to start learning more about the machine, its capabilities, and you're going to learn about how, if you get new stuff, how it can help improve, okay? So, you know, 5x12 hoop, you can use a 5x12 on the on a 5x7 machine. You know, they're repositioned. I am very sure they've got to have some type of repositioning hoop for the 4x4 machine, okay? Because I'm sure they're not going to let that community just like, you know, be like, oh, you're stuck with 4x4. I'm sure they have a repositioning hoop that they can use. And if I remember correctly, if you watch the Baby Booty, I believe Eve did a video on a repositioning hoop for a 4x4 machine, because I believe she has a 4x4 machine. I have the 5x7, and I did the video on the 5x12 repositioning hoop for the 5x7 machine. So don't think that you're limited, all right? Now, another thing you need to think about is software. There is a lot of embroidery software out there, okay? There is no right or wrong embroidery software. They all work great. It's just depending on what you feel comfortable with, okay? Me personally, I use Embrilliance because I am a Mac user. That is the only downfall about being a Mac user, is there's not a lot of embroidery software out there for the Mac. So when I started to do my research and all that kind of stuff, it was like Embrilliance was kind of like it. But it was okay because I'm gonna be honest, I actually like Embrilliance. I really like it. I mean, there is a lot of support out there on the software, you know, and there's so many things you can do. And what I kind of like about the software too is, you know, is you start with the basic module, and then if you want, okay, you can add to it. And the more you add to the software, more modules, the more capabilities that you can have. So I kind of like that about that software because it's kind of like, you know, it's like you choose what you want, right? You just start with the basic and then you can build from there. And, you know, Embrilliance even has something called Embrilliance Express. So if you are not sure if you want to buy that, what you can do is go to the website, download Embrilliance Express, and then you can like try it out, right? And you can kind of see if this is something that you like, if you feel comfortable with it, you understand it. And then if you want, you go ahead and you purchase the essentials, and then you can buy all the other stuff. So, you know, I just want to give you guys something to think about. I know a lot of you guys probably know about this, but I really wanted to do this kind of like for beginners in a way, because the thing is, we got a lot of new people in our Facebook embroidery group, and I really want you guys to like really start to you know, learn and stuff like that. So, you know, and it never gets old, because sometimes even if you're an experienced embroiderer, sometimes you need to rehear things, and sometimes you end up you actually do learn something new. You never know. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you learn something, you know. Let's see what else I got in here. All right, let's talk about embroidery files. Now, embroidery files come in different formats. Okay, you have PES, you have HUS. I think there's something called with a D. There's different types of file formats. All right, I use a Brother machine, so Brother uses PES. Now, however, because I have an embroidery software, I can actually use any type of file, because if I open it up in my software, I can save it as a PES file, and then I can use it on my machine. Okay, there are so many different types of embroidery, you know, files that you can buy. You can buy fonts, you can buy embroidery designs that are completely embroidered. You can do applique. Applique is where you kind of add fabric with your stitching, okay? Which, if you really think about it, it's pretty neat, those appliques, because what it is all those spaces that you're filling with the fabric, you really would have been filling it in with thread, right? So it's a great thread saver if you do applique, if you really think about it. And a lot of people, you know, like the applique because of that, because it does save a lot of thread. Now, however, though, I do find that sometimes it could be time consuming, because when you're doing applique, you're kind of like removing the item from the machine several times, because what happens is you have three types of stitches. You have your placement stitch, right? First is stitches, and so that way you can see where you're supposed to lay down your material. And there's different types of materials you can use. You can use your fabric, you can use vinyl. Some people put leather. I mean, there's just so many things you can do, endless. And then after that, then you have the tack down, and then the tack down means it kind of puts your material in place. You take your scissors, that's where you would do the duck scissors with the applique, and you would cut around it. And then it does the satin stitch, which is the final stitch, okay? So, you know, it's really, you know, you got that. And then you also have in the hoop files, okay? In the hoop, I'm going to be honest, it's not my thing, okay? Because of all the steps. And it's just not, I don't know. I tried an ID holder once, and it came out all kind of jacked up, you know? So, I mean, they're nice. Don't get me wrong. In the hoop projects are really, really cool. I guess what it is I don't have the patience of sitting there and reading all the directions and stuff like that. But you know what? That's on me. I got to cut that out. I better find the patience, okay, and just do it, because I'm going to be honest. If you look at a lot of those in the hoop project files, right, and you see the projects that you can create with those, that's some pretty nice stuff. You can do like notebook covers. You can do lots of pocketbooks, lots of coin cases. You can do little key tabs, keychains, hand sanitizer holders. I mean, there's just so many things out there. I mean, they got some really, really, really nice stuff. I just got to get into it. I just, you know what it is? You got to get in that zone. And I just haven't been in the hoop zone yet. Haven't gotten there. Okay. So, but I'll get there. Just got to give me some time and stuff. Another thing that I want you guys to think about too, when you're starting to embroider, think about the materials and the projects that you want to do and stuff. That's going to cost money. I mean, the types of shirts you're going to embroider on, the types of fabric that you're going to use for appliques and all that kind of stuff. Think about, items that you plan on embroidering. You can do book bags, you can do towels, you can do napkins and stuff, blankets, you can do hats. I mean, there's just so many things. And talk about hats. If you are going to do hats, make sure that you have the proper hat hoop to do a hat, okay? Learn about, and also make sure that you understand that, there are different ways to do things also, okay? There is, to me, I just feel like sometimes, there's so many people that do things. And I always say there's more than one way to skin a cat, okay? Some people like to float, some people like to hoop. You gotta, what I always say when you're starting out in embroidery, do both things, okay? See what works for you, okay? Now, also though, when you're looking at the different methods of how people do things, ask the questions. What are the pros and the cons of doing things a certain way, okay? Like, they'll give you an example. Let's say you in a lot of my videos and stuff like that, and a lot of times I embroider, I like to float things. Sometimes people come out and say, well, why don't you just hoop it? Well, yeah, you can hoop it, but depending on, well, me, I love floating it. I'm just used to it. I can do it really quick. I feel that it's a quicker way for me to hoop things, okay? So I float. The other thing also is depending on the material that you are going to embroider. Sometimes you can have something that's called hoop burn, and you don't want any hoop burn. Hoop burn is when let's say you take a piece of leather and you put it inside the hoop. When you take it out of the hoop, you're going to see it could crack the material and stuff, and or it can leave a marking, and that's called like hoop burn. So if you float it, you don't have to worry about that, okay? So, when you are looking at how people do things and stuff, like, I always tell people, watch the YouTube videos, go to the sewing shop, join an embroidery group, watch people shadow them, follow them, okay? Just follow them and just watch what they're doing and ask them why did you do it that way? Why did what is the benefit and what's the con? Because that way you can make the best decision for you as to how you want to do your products, okay? So, there is no right or wrong way, okay? What it is to me is learn as much as you possibly can. And at the end of the day, you do what's right for you. You do what makes sense to you and what you feel comfortable with. I have some folks that tell me I love to hoop everything. Then I have other folks that tell me I feel more comfortable floating everything. So to me, I look at it as, at the end of the day, as long as you get the result that you want, you're golden. That's all. So just something to think about. Now, another thing that I have never mentioned before that I was using it the other day, and then I was like, damn, I never told anybody that I do this. Buy a magnifying glass. You can go to the dollar store and you can buy one. And I'm going to tell you why this comes in handy, okay? Let's say you have a thread that is in the fabric, okay? Sometimes you see it, but for some reason, you just can't get to that thread. So I'll take like a little pin and I'll use the magnifying glass. And that actually helps me to know how to lift that thread that I'm trying to remove, okay? So this is really, really good because it really helps you. Because without it, what happens is when you're trying to take a pin, and you're trying to scrape like a piece of thread that you don't want in there, you don't want to scrape too much on the other fibers of the fabric, because what can happen is you can accidentally cut the fibers. So you really want to actually get to that thread that you're trying to pull out, you know, especially if you made a mistake and you got your seam ripper, right? You got your little seam ripper and you're like, okay, I made a mistake, so I have to undo all these stitches. Well, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a magnifying glass, because if you have that, then when you are using your seam ripper, you know for sure you are actually playing with the actual fabric you need to get removed from there, because you don't want to accidentally cut a hole in your fabric. So this is a pretty neat thing. I've been using it and I forgot to tell you guys until today. And then I was like, you know what? I got to put this in the notebook. So I actually put that in the notebook. You can get one at the dollar store. I mean, they're, you know, they're $1, you know, but this really does help. Now, since I'm mentioning this, I'm going to tell you guys, you guys are going to make mistakes. It happens, okay? Mistakes happen. Look what happened to me last Friday, okay? I made a mistake. I forgot my seed, okay? So mistakes happen. I don't care if somebody tells you that they've been embroidering for, I don't know, 50, 100 years or whatever. If they tell you they didn't make a mistake now and then, if they still don't make mistakes, they're lying to you, okay? They're lying. We all make them. We're human. It's just a part of life. And, you know, whatever, just deal with it, okay? So just make sure you get a good seam ripper, because you're going to use it. Don't kid yourself. This will be your friend, okay? So so get one with a nice little handle and give it a hug, because you're going to use it. I'm serious. And then along with that, this thing is good. Sorry. Along with that, I actually got a Peggy stitch eraser. Peggy stitch erasers, you guys hear me talk about it? I love them. I got two. I got a wireless one, and I got a cord, one that's cord, that has the cord. I use them, okay? But the Peggy stitch eraser, I do use it with this, okay? So you still need both. So you know, but the Peggy stitch eraser can be kind of pricey. Try to get them on sale if you can. But you know, I'll always keep an eye out. I remember I used to find them on allstitch.com. Don't know if they still have them. And I remember one time they had them on sale. I bought mine off of Amazon. I got the one that was corded off of Amazon. No, the wireless I got. No, the wireless I got from Allstitch. The corded one I got from Amazon. And if I remember correctly, when I bought it off of allstitch.com, it was on sale. So check out the site and look for when it's on sale. And when it's on sale, you know, if you can, I would snag one, okay? Because it's something that's really, really cool, and you're really going to need it and stuff. Ooh, I'm running out of time, man, and I had so much to tell you guys. Okay, let me see. All right. Did I? Oh, okay. All right. Oh, I got most of it. All right, cool. Do I? Oh, other stuff too. Google, okay? Great article. I've said this before. If you Google Fabrics 101 Stabilizer and Design Guide, it tells you exactly the fabric, the stabilizer, type of design that you're embroidering, and the needle you should use. This is really, really good. I'm telling you, it's my Bible. I'm telling you, I have it right next to my machines, and every time I refer to it, okay? I really, really do. And stuff, great stuff. If you know, and that's the other thing too. I mean, shoot, we have access to the internet and stuff. So it's like whenever you have a question, what stabilizer should I use? What needle should I use? Just Google it. Type it. You're going to see articles about it and stuff like that. And you know what? Ask on our Facebook group. We'll tell you, you know, so just, you know, don't be shy or anything about asking for help or asking questions and stuff like that. The other thing too is I had bought a 4-piece hoop for my machine. When I was looking for my repositioning hoop, oh, dollar store. Okay, this is really good. There's 2 ways you can hoop. Hoop items. There's sticky stabilizer. Okay, sticky stabilizer. You don't need this. However, let's say you don't have sticky stabilizer, right? Let's say you have cutaway or you have tearaway. Temporary spray adhesive. Hoop it first. Put this on here. Dollar store. This is the steering wheel cover. Okay, just to get a couple of these. Hoop it. Spray it. Then spray it with your temporary spray adhesive. Now, don't go crazy with the spray. You're just supposed to spray a little bit, okay? Not a lot. But what happens is when you spray it, you're going to spray this, okay? And then you're not going to get that gook all over your hoop. Then your hoop will be nice and clean, okay? But, and this, you can always throw it in the wash. You can throw it in the washing machine, and if it gets that funky, then you can just, you know, after a couple of uses, if it gets too funky after throwing it in the washing machine, it don't look good or whatever, you just go to the dollar store, buy another one. So, you know, another thing too is, let me tell you guys about small hoops. Use them, okay? I made a mistake thinking, oh, I got a big hoop, so I can use the big hoop for everything. Wrong. There's a reason why we have small hoops, okay? Small hoops actually hold the fabric correctly so that you can embroider the small designs. If you have a bigger hoop, okay, even though you feel that the fabric is in there pretty tight, it could be a dense design and stuff like that. Don't. Trust me, if you have a small design, pull out the small hoop, especially if it's a logo or something like that. This is really the best way to go. A lot of people make that mistake. I've done it. I've done it thinking, oh, I could just put it on the big hoop. Don't do it, because what happens is the fabric will shift on you, okay? It'll shift, and then the embroidery is not going to come out really crisp, okay? So, you know, use your small hoops and stuff. A lot of people are like, you know, oh, I don't need them. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because if somebody comes out and asks for a logo or something like that, then you're going to be like, oh, I should have used a small hoop. Because what happens is then you use the big hoop and then you put it in the machine, and then you're going to see that the material shifted, and then it's not even going to be in line. You're going to be like, ugh. And then you're going to mess up your shirt and you're going to be pissed. Okay. Practice, practice, practice. I'm telling you, buy a yard of fabric. Cut it in little squares. Use that for fabric. One thing I also tell people, go to Michael's. Michael's has, you know, because you know, fabric can be expensive too. Go to Michael's, buy felt. Go grab a couple of those white felts. Use that to practice, okay? And stuff. Practice, practice, practice. I'm telling you, the more you practice, the more you're going to learn your machine. The more you learn your machine, you're going to feel comfortable. You're going to feel confident. And then before you know it, you're going to be feeling good and stuff. You're going to make mistakes. There's going to be times when your needle's going to break. There's going to be times your auto threader's not going to work. You're going to put your bobbin in wrong. You're going to put the thread in wrong on the top. You're going to use the wrong needle. That's all going to happen. It's all going to happen, but it's a learning process. So embrace the process and you're going to be fine. And before you know it, you're going to start understanding the machine. You're going to understand how you have to thread the machine a particular way, so that way the thread flows a certain way, so that way you can get the final product that you want. Trust me, you will appreciate it. So embrace those mistakes. Embrace them, okay? And stuff. Also, you got to remember to just enjoy every stitch, okay? Just enjoy, okay? Now, like I said, these embroidery can be very, very pricey. So, you know, I'm cheap, okay? Coupons, people, coupons. If you go to Michael's has the coupons. You go to Joann's, embrace those coupons, okay? I have told you guys about buying discounted gift cards. Get the discounted gift cards, okay? Go to the websites. Sign up for those websites. They offer free embroidery files sometimes. They have a free embroidery file of the week, free embroidery file of the month. Grab it, snag it, okay? Now, talking about embroidery files, make sure you buy USB flash drives, okay, to save your embroidery files. But most importantly, this is what I do. All my files are on here, okay? Every time I buy an embroidery file, okay, I always download it on my machine and it automatically goes on here, whether I use the file or not. And the reason why I do that, and this is a it's called My Passport. It's just an external drive, okay? I like to have this for the simple reason is my Mac can crash. It can break down. You know what I'm saying? Your Windows or whatever, your machine can break down. Nothing lasts forever, okay? And if it does, okay, I spend a lot of money on embroidery files, okay? I mean, you know, I go to a lot of websites and some embroidery files, I have spent like $8 on one file. I've even at one time spent $26 on these fancy lettering fonts that I use for dinner napkins, you know, bought the whole set. You can buy them real cheap. But the thing is, the bottom line is, when you think about it, all the files that you're going to be buying, okay, so that you can embroider, when you start to add all that up, that's a pretty penny. The last thing you want is to lose those files. So it's very, very important that as soon as you buy them, download them and make sure that you have them stored in a place where, God forbid, your son happens to that machine, you got it. You're good. You know, you got your backup, okay, and stuff. A lot of times websites will keep your purchases on your account, okay, so you can always go and log on. But the thing is, there's so many embroidery websites out there, because I know me personally, I'm always discovering a new one all the time. And then I'm like, oh, these designs are gorgeous. Next thing you know, I'm buying all these files from them. So the thing is, it's gonna, you know, as time goes on, I know 10, 15 years from now, I'm probably not going to remember all the sites that I visited and stuff like that. So that's why I kind of like already like set my, you know, my routine is I buy the file, I download it to the machine, automatically it's backed up on here. And then that way I'm good. Something happens, I have all my files here. Every single one, even the ones that I didn't use or the ones that I use a lot, whatever, okay? So that is, if anything, this is the most important to me to tell you guys, back it up. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, when we start, if you were to look at all our budget sheets and everything, I bet you the cost of embroidery files are probably going to be really up there. They may not be up there in the beginning, but they're gonna eventually get there, okay? So let me see. Did I cover everything? I think I did. Woo! Guys, I know I talked a lot. And I was talking fast. But I just want to make sure you guys have all this info and stuff. Because, yeah, I think, yep, I caught it all. I got it all. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure you guys have this info because this is like really, really cool. And I know a lot of people have recently joined our Facebook group. We're up to, I believe we're up to 1,400 members in our group now. And, you know, I really want everybody to, you know, to really enjoy this stuff. Now, I do want to give a shout out to Oz, okay? And I don't know if he is in the chat today. Oz opened up his first, his Etsy store. And he is selling shirts, so he is excited. I'm excited for him. He's got some gorgeous, gorgeous shirts out there. So, hey, I just wanted to give you a shout out. And there was a young lady that had just got her first Etsy sale. And I am so sorry. I went through the Facebook trying to find her name and stuff like that. But I think you know who you are, and congratulations. I'm excited for you. I just love it when people, like, you know, things happen, because I know that first sale means a lot. And, you know, it's like so funny because I remember when I first opened up my shop, my husband would crack up because I would create something and I would put the listing out there. And then like 15 minutes later, I would be like, nobody's buying it. You know, like nobody bought my stuff. And Fred would be like, Jeanette, you just put it like 10 minutes ago. And I'm like, Well, I guess because what it was is I was expecting like my phone to be going ching 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 ching, you know, but it wasn't. So I was just like, but you know, you eventually end up learning that, you know, it happens. It, you know, your sale will come. Don't give up. Just keep doing you. Keep doing your thing. So I am like so happy for her and Oz because I feel like, you know, they are they're getting there, you know. I think that's like so cool and stuff. So I am going to go through the chat because it's 8:55, okay? And so, and you know, I love saying hi to everybody. Oh, let me get the right mouse. I like saying hi to everybody and everything. And if you guys have questions and stuff, I do always like to, you know, answer all of your questions and everything. Hey, Christian. Hey, Cindy. Am I all the way to the top of the comments? I hope I am. And stuff. If I miss you, I am so sorry. Let me see. I think I need a tutorial on what to use sticky on and what you shouldn't use sticky on. Using it on the wrong thing. Oh, okay. Let me see. Let me see. Sticky stabilizer. I mostly use, Christian, so you know, I mostly use sticky stabilizer on fabrics, towels, anything that I want to float. Anything that I float, I use the sticky stabilizer on. Hey, Cindy. I don't use sticky on towels if they have any kind of nap. It will snag on them. I never had a snag. But you know what you can do, Cindy, if you don't want to use the sticky stabilizer, because I do kind of understand what you're saying. Sometimes sticky stabilizer can be kind of rough. It can be extremely sticky, okay? So it's like when you're peeling the item, it's kind of like, you know, you kind of feel like it's pulling on the fibers of your fabric or your towel or something like that. What you could do is you can use tearaway and just spray temporary adhesive on the tearaway, and the stickiness won't be as harsh as sticky stabilizer. Because I know what you are saying. Sticky stabilizer can be kind of harsh because it can be extremely, like I have some right on here, and it is very you know, it's very sticky. You know, so if you use maybe cutaway with temporary spray adhesive, it could be a little on the lighter side and stuff. Does the side winder? Oh, I think you guys were talking about something, and I don't know what you guys are talking about. Hey, Susan. Hey, Iris. I almost don't use hooping my items. I just float them using the sticky. Yeah, I'm a floater. Oh, you're talking about the actual fabric. Hey, Shayna. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Man, I missed it. I didn't know that I can't go all the way back to the things. Not feel left out. Let me stop. I'm joking. And never use your good scissors on paper. Hey, Barb. Yup. I learned that the hard way. I had some really nice fabric scissors, and then I loved them so much because they were so sharp. So I started using them on everything, and I started cutting paper and all that kind of stuff. And then when I went to cut fabric, it wasn't cutting my fabric smoothly anymore. And that's how I found out the hard way. You're not supposed to use your fabric scissors to cut paper scissors. So now I'm like real strict. I don't let nobody touch my scissors. If you need a pair of scissors, you better go look for them somewhere else because you're not going to find them in here. Because I would be pissed if somebody took my stuff. You know, so yeah. So it's like, Hey, Miss Miles, how are you? Hey, Iris. I do my tiles using sticky. Yeah, I use, let me see. Well, when I do my towels on my multi-needle machine, I use tearaway, but I use my Mighty Hoops. But if I was using the single needle, I would most likely use the sticky. Or I would use the tearaway with sticky stabilizer to float the towel. That's what I would do. And so, hey, Coffee Powerhouse. Oh, Powerhouse, Powered Home. What are you guys saying? You know, I don't use the 505 temporary spray. I have to give that a try. You know what I've used, Barb? I used the KK2000, but I'm going to give that a shot. Hey, Evelyn. Don't use those. Magnetic hoops. And, you know, they have magnetic hoops for the single needles, guys. If, you know, this is the magnetic hoop. This is actually, I'm going to be honest, this is my favorite hoop for my single needle. I like it because it goes in and out of the machine a lot smoother than the one, you know, I feel that the one that came with the machine is a little on the bulky side. But, you know, but I do like the magnetic hoop. I'm at a disadvantage. My machine can't use those hoops. Aw. There's got to be way to represent Whippa. Hey, buddy. Hey, coffee powered home. I wish I got in the machine behind you. I have the SC1900. That's what I have. I have the SC1900 Cubit. That's what I have. I started with the SC1900. I love it. I still use it. Now I do have the multi-needle. I have a 6. You know, I take the baby steps. I like the baby steps. You know, first I started with just a regular sewing machine. Then I went to the SC1900. Then I got the 6 needle machine. So, you know, I'm taking the baby steps and stuff. So, you know, but I don't feel bad. The SC1900 is a nice machine, and I still use it. It's very, very good. Don't get rid of it. I'm telling you, don't get rid of it. If you get an additional machine if you want to, but don't get rid of it. You're gonna regret it. Because I still use mine. Hey Barbara. Magnetic hoop for the. There is a magnetic hoop for the SC1900. Yes. Barbara, this is the one. This is what I use on the SC1900, okay? And it's in the Amazon shop that I have, okay? So, if you know, I'll put the link on the Facebook group if you're part of the Facebook group. I mean, this is really, really good. I like this. So, they do have it for the single needle machine. Yep, there is, Eartha, you're right. There is it's a 4x6 repositioning hoop for the 4x4. There you go. Okay. I knew there was something for the 4x4, but I wasn't sure because the machine that I got is a 5x7. So, but I know that E from the Baby Booty did do a video on the repositioning hoop for the 4x4. And Brilliance is, yes, Angela. Hey, Angela. Yes, you are right. And there is so much support out there for Embrilliance. Love Embrilliance. I think, you know, I mean, Lisa Shaw, she gives a lot of tutorials on how to use Embrilliance and all of the different modules of Embrilliance. I mean, there's just so many things you can do. Hey, Harmony. Most machines nowadays, you can find, yes, most machines do have some type of magnetic hoop. You just got to make sure that you can find the magnetic hoop that works with your model. Hey, Maddie. Fine, Bermuda. Oh, try to Google, Maddie. If you can Google that, you can probably find a bunch of websites that offer those types of embroidery designs. That's what I would do. I would start there. Hey, Iris. I've been trying to find one for my machine without success. Oh, it's raining out there. Let's see. Any questions? Hey, MJ, how are you? Oh, my brain envelope. I haven't even turned on bought it as a Christmas. MJ, you better turn that machine on. It is out of the box, though. Girl, that machine is not a trophy. It is not for you to stare at. You better turn that switch on. You're gonna, trust me, it'll be okay. Don't be scared of it. Just do it. Just do it. Love in the hoop projects. They're so much fun. Earth, I know they are, but it's just, I gotta get in the hoop zone. I'm just not there yet. I'm just not. And I think this is what bothers me with in the hoop, right? you buy the file, right? And sometimes the inner hoop project, it's not just one file, right? You're buying a zip file. Sometimes there's several files to do, right? And then you got all these long drawn out instructions that you got to read. And you do have to go step by step by step by step in order to do the whole project. So it's just like, to me, when I see those in the hoop files, and I see that it has all these files, and then you have like this, all these pages of instructions, I kind of like go like, I don't want to do that, you know? So I just gotta, but I gotta stop that. I gotta get myself out of that. And because I'm missing out, because I see some of the guys, I mean, some of the projects out there, and they're so cute. And I'm kind of like, I'm missing out on that. So I'm like, I gotta get on that and stuff. So, hey, Sarah. Shells floating things more. Yeah, and you know, people are even floating their hats. Instead of buying the hat hoop, they go ahead and they float their hats. This is another thing too. If you guys are interested, oh, I just dropped all my bobbins. I got a hat hoop, which makes it really, really easy for when I'm embroidering. I just put the hat lid in here and I embroider it. I do have a video on how to use this. I like it. This is great for the single needle, you know. I like it. So, yeah, but there's different ways. I even saw somebody, they didn't even have a hat hoop, and they were able to embroider their baseball hat, and they did a really good job. So, you know, let's see what else is out there. Hi, Jeanette, first time here. Love the magnifying glass tip. Hey, Justine, right? Linda Woods Brown. Hey, how are you? You're very welcome for the tip. You know, I just remembered about this tip. You know, I was like, wait a minute, because I had made a mistake and I pulled it out. And then I looked and I was like, I never mentioned this. I never mentioned this. But this is a really good thing. Just go. They sell them at the dollar store. Go to the dollar store and just pick one out, you know. Let's see. Any other questions? Let's see. I'm always making mistakes. Yep, I make them too. Harmony. And you know what's funny too is every time you make a mistake, honestly, sometimes you do learn something new. You know, it's because I wasn't paying attention to the detail and I missed a step or something like that. There's always something, you know. So that's why in a way it's kind of like, I mean, you know, I even like talked, I think like a week or 2 weeks ago, I talked about how I finished the whole friggin' towel and then I found out I didn't put the stabilizer on, you know, and I was like, really? You know, that's the first step, stabilizer. And I skipped that step. So I was like, okay. So I'm like, oh, well, you know, I mean, you're going to make them. You're just going to make them. I have a lamp clipped on my table with the magnifying. Oh, yes, I've seen those. That's pretty neat. And so, hey, Kula, Jeanette, that is so true. I did a mistake on my little ones today that I was able to fix it. Yeah, you can do it. Hey, Jay, this is the other Rosario. This is not a mistake. The Puerto Rican way, spell it. Hey, Victorio. Hey, Natalia, how are you? I thought it was a stitch eraser. I got a piece of not the brand item. You know what? See if you could return it, Cheryl. See if you could return it. But yeah, it's the Peggy stitch eraser is what I have, and it's really good. And you know, I know what you mean. You know, sometimes like when you get an item, right, and it's a certain name brand, you know, you see something that's pretty similar, and sometimes you're like, well, how different can it be? You know. But, you know, usually if it's on Amazon, I'll order it anyway just to see. And if I see that the quality is just as good, then I'm like, oh, I hit a gold mine. But if it's not, then just send it back. And then, you know, go, okay, well, I should have spent the extra money. So you just send it back, get your money back, and then just buy the other one. So it's not a big deal. Where can I get a good pair of scissors to cut fabric and for applique? Cool it, Joann's. Go to Joann's, and, you know, that's the best way to get your scissors. I'm serious, because when you go to Joann's, they sometimes have the sales, and then you can use the coupon. And if you are military or you're a teacher, you get an additional discount too. So that is where I recommend you go. and now you can go on Amazon. I mean, I do have them in my Amazon storefront, but you know, save that money, girl. I mean, save it, save the money, you know. Walmart or Joann's, you can, yep, and Walmart does have them. But you know, sometimes Walmart, they have like the Fisker scissors, but if you're looking for the scissors, what's that other brand? I always say the name wrong. I like these, the Jinher, I think it's Jinher scissors. I like these because these scissors are so solid. They're not plastic or anything like that. Fiskars are plastic scissors, which in a way is nice because they're light, they're lightweight, but these things will outlast me. I know that. So I really do like Jinser scissors. So if you're looking for scissors like these, Joann's where you want to go. But I would Walmart does sell the Fiskars and stuff. Madeira has a ton of resources. Yes, they do. Yes, Maddie, that is true. I've never used my small hoops. I need to start thinking about them. Yeah, Christian, do, because like I said, think about that. Remember, the hoop is what's supposed to stabilize the fabric when you are embroidering, okay? So if you are just embroidering a small area, okay, if you're embroidering something that's on a small area, and then you go ahead and you use a big hoop, okay, and all you're going to do is just embroider in here, it, you know, you I don't know. You could, but the thing is, the fabric could shift. Okay, so you know, I always look at my embroidery design and look at the item that I'm embroidering on, and if it's, you know, and that's how I determine what's the best hoop to use. You know, that's just what I do and stuff. But you know, don't think of the small hoops as something that you're not going to need or ever use. You know, you can't, they are, trust me, people are not buying these because they don't need them. If companies are making something, it's because people are buying them. People are buying them, it's because they need them. There's a use for it. Trust me. Okay. So, you know, let me see. Let's see. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Olivia. See, personally, stay away from Bella Canvas. Too thin, in my opinion. You know, Barb, I've used the Bella Canvas. They are thin. You are correct. And I did a video on my horror story, my 36 shirts. The thing is that once you find the right, I had to use no show mesh stabilizer on those because they are thin. But you know what's funny is with the Bella Canvas is a lot of people like that brand because it, you know, I'm going to be honest, it is a comfortable shirt. It really is, you know. I mean, they're soft. They really are. They're very soft. They're very lightweight. So I can see why people love them so much and stuff. So, you know, but they are not easy to embroider on. That is for sure. Too thin. But I did some napkins this week and they were too thin too. It depends. Yeah, I usually have napkins. I do embroider, Christian, a lot of napkins, but a lot of the napkins that I embroider are not the thin type. They're pretty thick. So I usually buy my dinner napkins off of Amazon. They are listed on my Amazon storefront, and those are pretty thick. And they do great for embroidery. They really do. So I do embroider them. A lot of people like the initials. I am going to be embroidering some dinner napkins for a wedding that's happening. So I got to do 80 dinner napkins. So, you know, but they're great. You know, it just depends. You got to make sure that you're getting the right quality dinner napkin to make them. So, see, use a ballpoint needle. I use a ballpoint needle. Yep. Can you do a video on the, okay, applique, Laura, applique you cannot do on a 5x12. okay, the only way to do a 5x12, okay, on applique. Appliques have a lot of different steps in them, all right? So if you want to do like a 5x12 with an applique, you have to make sure that that applique is on one side of the file. When you're doing a 5x12, what happens is you're going to design your shirt on the software. When you save it for a reposition hoop, what's going to happen is that design is going to split into 2 files. So what's going to happen is you're going to stitch one file to complete, and then you're going to move your hoop, okay, up, and then you're going to stitch the second file. So if you want to put applique on your 5x12, you have to make sure that the complete design of that applique is at one of those files, or it's not going to work. It's not going to work and stuff. And you know what? Laura, you gave me a good idea of doing a video with the 5x12 with an applique design. That way I can show you guys what I mean, because I don't know if I just confused you guys or not. But yep, I will do a video on that. I'll talk with Carlito, because I already have a list of videos and stuff that I have to do. So can you give us the link to the external file? Yes, Cheryl, I will put that in my shop. I have not added it. It was something that I forgot to put in. But yeah, this is something that I use, and I love it because all my files are on here. Let's see. I have a budget from the start, so I can. Olivia, I do the same thing. Well, I have a whole separate business account, and it's like, but I have to track everything. So if you're doing, embroidery as a business, I use QuickBooks. So QuickBooks keeps track of everything, income, expenses, everything. And I love it because then it's like I could just, I give access to my accountant, and he just does what he's got to do and stuff. So, spent grip on file. Yeah, you spend a lot of money on embroidery files. You have no idea. I mean, you can get some really inexpensive files, and you can get some really expensive ones too. And I've spent money both ways. We need a video on the. I will do that. Walk by faith. I will definitely do that and stuff. I'll post it. I think I got everybody, guys. I think I have everybody. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you found this information useful. We have a lot of people that have just, joined the group and stuff. We're up to like 1,400 members, and the channel, I believe, now has, I think we're at 3,900. So we're continuing to grow. So it's pretty cool. And I do want to expand. I did do my first video on how to thread a multi-needle embroidery machine. And I do plan on doing more videos on the multi-needle machine, because I know that some folks are going out and they're getting a 6-needle machine. So I figured, let me do some videos to help them out also, so that way they get to learn their machine. Because that's really what's important, is once you learn your machine and all its capabilities and its functions, then it's like you can really start to be creative and do your thing. And then you can like really, really take off. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And so I really appreciate it. And I really cracked up because, last week I had my misspelling on my shirt. That was kind of funny, I didn't even know. Everybody kept sending me these inbox, check your inbox. And I was like, huh? And then I found out I was missing a C. But yeah, mistakes happen and stuff. So, let's see. Did I get everybody? I think I did. Okay. But if I missed you guys, if I did not get anybody and stuff, just, sorry and stuff. But, like I said, if you're not part of our Facebook group, which is Embroidery Happy Hour Adventures, just, join. If you have questions, ask there. If you need help, show off your designs, show off your creations and stuff. And, you know, we're all there to support each other and everything. So, guys, I know I talked really fast because I wanted to really, like, talk about, you know, all this kind of stuff and everything. I know a lot of it was probably some repetitive for those that have been watching me for a while, but I know that we got a bunch of new people. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So you guys have a great Memorial Day weekend. It's a 3-day weekend. Kind of sucks a little bit because it's raining right now in Virginia, but that's okay. You know, when it's, you know, when the weather's bad and stuff, just more time to stay in my room and stuff. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me and stuff, and I will see you guys next Friday. And if you have you know, requests for videos and stuff like that, post them on the Facebook group, and I will write them all down. Like I said, I'm trying to get more organized, and I will get more videos out to you guys. Okay, so you guys have a great one. Love you all, and you know, thanks so much for the support. You guys have a great weekend and take care.